So your name Vermin Supreme, where does that come from?
Well, let me tell you. Back in the day, Baltimore, Maryland. It was in the like 80s and late 70s, and there was some art weirdos and people going by different names, and it was sort of punk rock time. So there's a lot of punk rocks. Well, there were punk rock names. And so my friends were all having names that weren't necessarily their names, but they were developing characters based around names, and it was just sort of a fun game that we did before the internet and stuff. And I guess it was like cable time and stuff, maybe, but sure. So it was originally I was doing bookings and promotions at a couple nightclubs in Baltimore, Maryland, and came to the conclusion that all booking agents, all club owners, were vermin, and I was going to be the Vermin Supreme. And so initially became sort of this stage character, definitely pre-boot, and before the political ambitions, quite frankly. So it was more of a thing that I was doing on stage as a caricature of this type of MC hepcat type of thing with a fake cigar because I wasn't smoking the real ones and all this shit, and a lot of ugly suit jackets at the time. Had an amazing wardrobe, quite frankly. It didn't last too long because I wasn't actually verminous enough, because I wasn't enough of a dick to really fucking make a go of it.
So you actually weren't the Vermin Supreme.
I'm gonna say no, unfortunately. But at that time, I was glad-handed. I was doing the door. I was meeting the people. I was using the club as a promotion tool for myself. It was Vermin Supreme's Fabulous Galaxy Lounge. So I started using that as a way to get the name out there. And eventually, one day, when I was actually done with Baltimore, quite frankly, I was out at the Two Crazy Greeks drinking cheap beer, pitchers of beer. And I was looking for my next project. What was it going to do? I was done with the bar, and but I had developed, if not a following, at least a large network of people that I knew in the area. And I said, well, why don't I run for mayor? That would be something I could do. And so I announced my candidacy for the mayor of Baltimore, Maryland.
How many votes did you get?
I don't know. I wasn't interested. Probably not many at all. I didn't get on the ballot. It was just essentially a thing I said.
So is that how you first got into activism?
I don't even know if you'd call it activism at that point, quite frankly. Freak out the normals. I was just looking for a way to interject my body into a interesting place that would make people try and figure out what the fuck was going on. But it was at the same time that I announced that I was running for mayor, and once again, it wasn't political. It was more of a social experiment. I left Baltimore. I joined the Great Peace March for Global Nuclear Disarmament, an activist peace march that went from L.A. to D.C. in 1986. And I jumped on board. I went down to the parking lot of the Memorial Stadium and saw this city, a live, moving city, 5,000 people in the support logistical vehicles that were required to move it. There was kitchens, there was porta potties, there was libraries, there was schools, it was just incredible.
So this was really inspiring to you.
It inspired me to the point that at that time I knew I was out of Baltimore, but I did not have any idea where I was going to go. And so it was just this amazing synchronicity where this whole movement rolled through, and I went to the thrift store and I bought some clothes and a cheap sleeping bag, and I walked to DC with those people and met them and started traveling with their spin-off, The Seeds of Peace.
So did you ever imagine this is where you end up being?
Quite frankly, no. It was at the same time that I started going to the Rainbow Gatherings. It was pretty much when I left Baltimore. So it started morphing. And I started doing national political events, or at least attending them. But I had this character going. The Vermin Supreme, friendly fascist, type you can trust. And then a year rolled by, and it was time for me, and the actual mayoral campaign in Baltimore was underway. And so I felt like I had committed myself to go back and actually run. So me and my friend Happy from the peace group, the hippie scum peace group we had joined, Seeds of Peace, we did a drug study in Boston. We became human guinea pigs for 1 month, and we got like $1,000, and I took that money and I spent it on computer printing or computer typesetting, because that's what was happening in those days. It was like pre-Kinka, so I had to find a printer, and during that 30-day in the drug study, I wrote the material for the Mayor's Run, which included like an atomic-powered amusement park, and but it also referenced the mandatory toothbrushing law. The kernels for the campaign started there, and then I started going to the rainbow gatherings, and I started learning more about being a clown, and you know, because it's such a freak show there, you can do whatever you want. And so I was doing crazy shit.
In 2008 at the Republican convention with a bullhorn, you yelled at the politicians, calling them necrophiliacs responsible for dead soldiers in Iraq and 9/11. You've chased Paul Songus with an enema bag. You bit Jesse Jackson. You bit Jesse Jackson.
Correct.
You spit on your hand before shaking Jerry Falwell, so I think he deserves a lot worse personally. But that's all.
I suppose that happened.
And
sure.
of course, the famous glitter bombing of Randall Terry. Now,
Yes.
is there anything that would just be too far? Like, how far would be too far when it comes to these things?
Let me say those were certainly some very lurid examples.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Is there something that would be too far?
Context is everything.
I don't know. Would you go to would you go to a candidate's house to demonstrate?
Start talking about the Church of Youth. I would set a fucking brown paper bag full of dog shit set it on fire on some asshole's doorstep. That's a time-worn American prank. It's non-violent direct action. You ring the doorbell, they come out, they stomp on the fire, and end up with a shoe full of shit. It's a beautiful thing. I'm more about the pie to the face.
Well, who doesn't love soupy sales?
Yeah, so I was actually working pretty hard trying to alter the violence at these demonstrations into more of a pie eventy thing. So yeah, I mean my necrophilia comments. Quite frankly, I thought those were off the record when I said them. They were the first things that popped up on YouTube, which actually inspired me to start creating some content. So that wasn't the only thing that came up. I thought it was harsh. I thought it was defensible. I thought I was distributing a message. I was speaking on behalf of my constituents base. And when I saw it, I had to really consider what was up. But I think as a performer or as a activist or as a politician, I have been given a huge leeway. I've been given a breadth, like, just so far. I mean, I as a clown, and humor is my weapon. Humor has allowed me to be extremely aggressive. It has allowed me to be incredibly obnoxious. It has allowed me to get in people's faces and spaces and places that I never would have been allowed. It gives me the context to really deconstruct and mess with the sheer way of what's going on. It's all hail Eris, Discordia. How can we change things? How can I change reality? How can I alter the format of a convention, of an election? How do we mess with these things? How can I question their legitimacy? But by making myself this thing that's bigger than myself. As a meme, I have become so much bigger than my meat sack.
Yeah.
It's a force amplification. It's a digital amplification. I have worldwide notoriety. I meet people. Oh, well, yes, we know you in Puerto Rico. Oh, yes. The villagers in Pakistan, they love your work. They don't know what you're saying, but they love the fact that you're, and it's given me a reach, an incredible reach that I never could have expected. By you wearing a boot on my head. What is simpler? Simple, elegant, effective. Talking about these subjects, ponies, zombies. Finding these, sifting through the whole cultural crap pile to pick out things that resonate with people.
Now, the boot on your head you just mentioned. What inspires these various fashion choices of yours? Like the ties and the boot on the head and things of that nature.
The boot just became a thing that people really like. Oh,
That's a nice boot.
Now we're smoking.
I got boot.
Now we're
Yeah, matching
smoking.
boot.
Now we're smoking.
Okay.
Anyway, the boot operates on a number of different levels. You know, it's just a stupid, quirky thing. It's a fucking upside down rubber boot I wear on my head.
Okay.
But
Certain elegance.
it gives me height. Once again, Pagan Kennedy pointed out finally. I didn't understand it at first, but
There you go.
it makes me one of the tallest things in the room. It makes me highly visible. It becomes a distraction to the politician in the front who's trying to conduct the thing. It becomes a challenge to authority. It's very aggressive because it's so stupid and so meaningless because it has no meaning. But it's a signifier. When somebody sees me walking at them with a boot, they know that what's coming their way is not linear. It's not necessarily going to make sense. They have to accept it and they have to brace themselves for it.
How often do you add or change to your outfits?
It has become a little codified. Different seasons. Seasonally, for many years, the boot was only if in the New Hampshire primaries, and when I was working out in Riot World or in Riot Cops or during the conventions, I really didn't wear it. But once 2012 hit, I became married to it essentially. It became a trademark.
Have you ever thought of signing like an endorsement deal with a boot company?
I would go with Tingley for sure. I've autographed rubber boots on the campaign trail, and some guy got like $100 on eBay for them. And I'd like to point out also that glitter ties. Have I mentioned the Vermin Supreme line of beautiful effing glitter ties? Check those suckers out. No, this is my cottage industry, people. These are available. Look for
So you have your own line of glitter ties the public can buy.
Upscale
you have
glitter
your own
ties.
line.
Absolutely.
Upscale glitter ties.
Absolutely.
These are
They are lovingly autographed by myself, Vermin Supreme, with fabric paint, and then I glitter on top of them, and they are really beautiful. I'd like to hang one off you here, because, wow.
See this show, it's part interview, part home shopping network.
Exactly. In fact, maybe we should all be shopping network. What else can I sell? Once again, here's my book. It's available on the internet. There's my glitter tie. Got the new shopping, verminsupreme.com website. All proceeds are going to my campaign. In fact, 2020 is shaping up to be something really fucking amazing. It's going to be something between fear and loathing on the campaign trail and the great rock and roll swindle.
If there's a boot company out there who wants to get in on the ground floor of his headwear with an endorsement deal, we're here. He's taking your calls.
That's true. Did you ever hear of Vermin?
No.
They're an actual product out of Vermont, and they spell them Vermint.
Oh, I think I actually have heard. I have heard of those.
Actual products, and it says Vermin in the name. And how do you sell a real product? I haven't reached out to him lately, but I'm gonna get it.
Anyway, here at the show, we had some suggestions of other things you
What
might.
show?
At this show here, we had some.
What show here? Wait a minute. What are you doing in my living room? Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you people? What's going on here?
Weed!
Anyway,
I smoke dope and I smoke grass. If you don't like it, kiss my ass. That's what I'm saying, people. We're in Massachusetts. Weed is legal. We're loving it. We can grow our own frickin' weed. Smoke our own weed. Not get arrested. Thrown in fucking jail. All you other states who don't have legal weed should get with the program. Legal weed is awesome.
well said. Well said. Well said. But anyway, here at the show, we had some ideas of the show we're doing.
Okay.
We had some ideas of other things you could try wearing on your head if you were looking to, to switch things up, maybe.
Okay.
So
I'm doing this casual.
well, anyway, we thought maybe a traffic cone, like you're directing the traffic of the revolution. Traffic cone, something.
There is a photograph out there where I do have a traffic cone in my head.
Cone.
Sometimes I find myself out in public and somebody wants a selfie and I don't have the boot. And I have to look around to see if there's something that
So you have thought of this traffic cone. It's like you're directing the traffic of the revolution.
Yeah, and it's wizard-like, and it's sure, you bet.
Okay,
what else is your crack staff staff on crack come up with?
You could put a metal pail over your head to show that we're blind to their tyranny.
Correct. The famous Simpsons episode where Homer glues a metal bucket onto his head, and Bart had to drill through the eye holes and shit. That was cool. I really enjoyed that one. Of course, Lord Buckethead.
Or the Seinfeld where Kramer is taking on the taking on the post office industry.
With a bucket?
No, and he has a bucket over this this stuffed postal worker, and they're asking like, "What's with the bucket?" And he keeps saying, "It shows we're blind to his tyranny." And he keeps asking, "Shouldn't you be wearing the bucket then?" But anyway, I thought maybe you could wear a bucket to show that we're blind to their tyranny.
Well, do you know Lord Buckethead? He's a space alien who runs for office in England.
I'll have to look into that.
Oh, for sure. He's my main competition.
Yeah.
I don't think he's affiliated with the Screaming Monster Looney Party at all. He's his own thing, but he gets a lot of votes and a lot of press. Once again, it's the formula that I think I've discovered is that, you know, I have found this very small, very specific, you know, slice of Americana, of America, of world politics, running for president. You know, and there's the New Hampshire primary, the smallest little damn dinky state in the union. And, well, sorry, Rhode Island, but you know, it's just paid this amazing amount of worldwide global attention is there, and I just go up there and fuck with it. Just put a boot on my head and start talking crazy shit. And, you know, the next thing I know, I'm fucking, you know, famous enough to get away with that shit. So it's open, man. If you have a good idea, if you want to mess with reality, you just have to find, you know, the slice that you can maximally twist to your own ends. You know, I highly recommend coming to the New Hampshire primary for anybody with an interesting axe to grind. Just if you can present your message in a way that's going to jump the media. Oh yeah, okay. They're here. Sure.
Okay, yeah. Also,
back to this bit.
Another suggestion of the Davy Crockett coonskin hat. You know, because out here you are king of this wild frontier, showing people your outdoor side.
You know, I could certainly imagine a fur-covered or a raccoon covered boot. Yeah.
That's putting your own spin on it. That's very good.
Yeah.
And finally, if you want to really show off your patriotism, a bald eagle. We were thinking.
That would be good.
But be careful. I think they like to clean their feet by peeing on them, so you might want to be careful about that.
It would be stuffed and gutted?
No, a real live bald eagle on your head. How about that? To show your patriotism.
There's a meme with a big one on my shoulder.
Yeah,
and I'm holding a rocket launcher. And
I think, you know, that could really show people off your patriotism.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Having big birds of prey and weapons. They're America loves it.
Thank you for watching part 3 of The Stone Truth. Please join us next week for part 4, where we will be discussing his 2018 run in Kansas, his plans for 2020, and highlights from his career as a candidate, including this.
In this 2016, I got 249 or 46 votes, I think.
Came in fourth. One spot.
Screw you, Martin O'Malley.
One spot behind Martin O'Malley, who wasn't even in the race anymore. So
yeah,
somebody not
fuck you too. Screw you. Screw you! And this interview's over! I told you not to bring up Martin O'Malley!
Also, you know, wasn't he elected mayor of Baltimore? Wasn't he elected?
Now you're fucking picking at my scabs!
Remember to like and subscribe to this channel on YouTube, as well as pass it along to any friends you might have who might enjoy it. Or even if they don't, as long as they watch it, that's fine too. Remember, the truth is out there.
The magic dragon lived by the sea.
The stone truth, that is.
Frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff.